Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to speak something about how you can aspire to do PhD, because I've got some requests when I asked for the feedback. Some of the friends requested me to talk on academics, so I think this is something that I'm very confident about, and also I'm going to tell something that is completely related to how you need to cope up with your mind and store energy, meaning to say it is mostly the mental journey of PhD, because all of you are very much aware of the technical details and subject content. I'm not going to say anything about it, uh, but I experienced a lot in the journey. It is a transition of personality as a whole. PhD journey is not as tough as people talk about, and I think probably this is the right time that I'm talking about it, because as you know, I think the whole world is on pause now. It's stagnant, it's staying home, so you can make the best out of it by just relaxing, because PhD, as we know, is a solo journey, and it has least to do with anything that is external, anything that is related to your computer or office work. I think all it comes is from mind, and our mind is our home. So I would like to give you some tips on how can you recalibrate yourself, and how do you have to digest the fact that PhD journey is a part of your life. So nothing to worry about. I reached to all of my friends personally, and also I think this is a good platform. I need to once again thank you so much for encouraging my efforts. Firstly, I'd like to say something on I have noted 10 things that you have to remember in PhD. So firstly, go with your instinct. This is my strong advice. Do not let the advice of the crowd become the noise in your head. Many people will say this is not the right topic for you, this is not for the age, and maybe this is going to be a challenging one for you. Just for procuring the degree, I think you just have to choose the simple one, go ahead with it, because later you can do some research papers on it or go for conferences. I think it is always advisable that you listen to your instinct, your gut, your vibe, and your mind and heart. All of them work together for one specific topic. It's nothing for you, you know that. So if you follow the instinct, no matter what kind of challenges come on the way, I think you'll go through with them. And it is just a myth that people think children literature is for those who are young in age, and if you want to do something on spirituality, that is for older people. Age is just a number. It is completely your own instinct, your own calling. Your soul would always advise you, and rest is all how, of course, what kind of references and the help of books you take. I think I would like to again here remind you the words of Steve Jobs. He says, your intuition already knows what do you want in your life, everything else is secondary. So please follow your instinct. If you have calling for a topic, there will be 1,000 pieces of advice telling that there is no material available for this, and it's going to be challenging, you're not going to expand. See, always we just have to remember the fact your thesis is a book that is a beautiful expansion of your own idea. So you are the writer for it. You know what to write, how much to write, and what angle you need to take off. So first, instinct is the best instinct. So I strongly advise you not to pay heed to others' advice in the case of topic. So that's what I wanted to say. Secondly, I think it is advisable that you do comprehensive reading. This is my point number 2. You in the beginning, everything is overwhelming. Too much of material you get, or sometimes you don't get any material. So surprisingly, the problem is when you have too much of material, it confuses you, and you tend to read, you tend to categorize the time along with the book, that I'll reach to the synopsis level, and by the time I do the proposal work, I think I'll have to grab knowledge from all the books, and one by one you start reading, and you sit with one book For example, I did on spiritual consciousness in Indian literature. Initially, all I was thinking was I need to understand what is spirituality. So I had all the 10 books and I started reading, and after 10-15 days I was still in the first book. Then thankfully my guide advised me. He said comprehensive reading is the best idea. So from everything you can write something, but from something you cannot make everything. So you refer to several books that talk about the same thing, do the surfing and note down the important points, and then you can do the deduction method by just noting down what is important for your topic. Gradually, it acts as a roadmap to lead to your own idea. So I advise you to first enjoy exploring the libraries, and especially, of course, this is for literature people I'm talking about. And so exploring itself is a beautiful job. It is like a strong foundation. Do not think it is a waste of time, because the more you gather, it's going to help you in the later stages of your thesis when you make chapters. So do not hesitate in doing a lot of exploring. Enjoy that period also. Thirdly, I would like to say, go from the immediate response towards the opinions of the critics, and do not do the vice versa. Do not read the opinions of others and do not convince yourself that okay, maybe this is why this topic is considered in this manner. So you just have to understand everybody has his or her own analysis. Your first idea on a particular thing is the best idea. Trust me, you do not have to wait that somebody should validate you, like a book of a great personality. Do not get scared if your idea doesn't match with that book. Maybe your entire PhD journey is going in a wrong direction. It is not like that. You have to always jot down your points. After some journey, you can connect all the dots. So your first idea, for example, if I did on poetry, I always try to write down what is my first idea on this topic. Am I able to establish a sense of familiarity with the words that the poet is speaking, and what is the first idea that I get, and what is my mind saying about this particular poet or writer. So you jot it down, and trust me, it is somehow going to align with any random critic you pick up for validating your point. Yes, you need to do references. You need to do 2, 3, sometimes 10 books also to see the match. Have I understood it correctly or not? It is definitely going to match, but do not let again others crowd your own idea. It is extremely important you note down your individual idea, and it is going to lead you. It is going to act as a lamp for your rest of the journey. And number 3, do it with heart and choose only when you feel. Yeah, this is what I want to say. See, there are many topics like if some people are emotionally attached to people who are suffering, like some feminists are there, some do on Dalit literature, some do on northeastern people, the problem of identity crisis, some do on their own spiritual journey, and some do just for pleasure, and some try to bring out the fiction and fable of children literature in the aim of giving good messages to the youngsters and young minds. That is a great contribution. So always go with your own choice, and do not do it for degree. That will anyway be there ahead. So your instinct will give you the best idea. Again, I would like to remind you the fact that age is just a number. Many people told me it is not the right time that you do on spirituality. I think you should explore something like on linguistics, language and other things. But I was very strong about my instinct. I would like to tell you a small personal example here. I went to Aurobindo Ashram in Pondicherry, and I met great people there, and also the management team who is managing all the ashram libraries and samadh of Sri Aurobindo. They wanted to know one thing. They asked me, do you believe in spirituality? Do you yourself do spiritual practice? Do you meditate? What is your opinion? Or are you just making the points on what the importance of spiritual consciousness and keeping your thesis just in shelf after 3-4 years? I said I believe in spiritual consciousness, and I believe that everyone uh, have everyone has to one day look within. So internal journey is something very important, and I am very intrigued by the fact that the works that I took up talk about the spiritual journey itself. So it was like an adventure for me, and I could establish a sense of familiarity and also felt free guidance from the writers that I chose from. So I strongly encourage you to always go with your instinct. And next I would like to talk on the fact that people think that you take sometimes the challenge in a way where you cannot see what is there ahead. But this is adventure. This is always a solo journey. One should always keep in mind that challenges are beautiful. There are thousands of theses in the world already who talk on general topics that you do. But if you think that you can contribute a new idea to the world, if you think that you have seen something different, you should always take that up. And secondly, if you think that your idea is like maybe worn and torn out already, the whole world is already talking about it, but still you have a strong message, do not hesitate to choose that. Even I was tested in my RDC meeting when I sat. They asked me, why have you chosen these poets again? I think a lot of work has been done. I said my idea and the way I tell is always going to be different from the other. So the whole world is like a net, and if the writer is a nucleus of the web, we all are different ideas. So it is definitely going to help one another, and do not compromise on challenges. And nextly, yes, it is not time bounded. One more thing I would like to think, people tend to get anxious. They think of so many things all at a time. I need to do articles also, I need to do conferences also, how do I grow my chapters, how would I improve? It's not like that. Go with your idea. Not all the days are same. Some days your mind is very active, you get that instinct, and then you work a lot. Sometimes you can do for 7 hours, and some days are just empty. But trust me, your mind is always on the journey. It keeps thinking, it keeps registering so many points, it collects the ideas. Do not interfere with that process. Your brain and your heart always work together in the journey of PhD. And one important thing is just to keep noting down somewhere. Just write in your mobile, or have a small notes, jot it down. Later you will definitely expand them automatically, and do not do it just for the sake of degree. And once when you expand a chapter, you will easily extract a few articles from those chapters. Whether it is one chapter or two chapters, you're easily going to get byproduct from the hard work that you have done. So do not compare your journey with others, that these have done 16 articles in 1 year. Do one quality article, take your own time. Your idea is the king of all the research and articles you do. And secondly, don't aim to be a perfectionist. It is again a solo journey. People sometimes stumble and they pause entirely, and they are frustrated and they experience fatigue just by thinking this idea that maybe my ideas are not good, maybe my thesis is not coming like how I want. Do 10 drafts, do 20 drafts. Every time I bet you see silly mistakes, and you see that there is something that you can add to that. But the one thing I remember that my elders also told me, it is a smooth journey, but it is going to be a rough sail time and again when you think that this is not perfect. They always advised me, this is not the end of your journey, it is only the beginning. So do the draft work, and then sometimes if you are confident, directly do the typing on your laptop, and the ideas will turn out to be very good. And there is nothing called a perfect thesis. The writer that I took up, for example, Sri Aurobindo, he said after 50 years of writing Savitri, the work, at 50th year he said, I reluctantly had to close this because this keeps on going. Every time I get revelation, every time I think that the things can be changed, and they keep writing. And there is a risk here. The reader might not be able to follow you if you aim for perfection in your thesis. So keep it raw sometimes, undiluted and unfiltered. Expansion of your beautiful idea is way more beautiful than trying to explain it more and more. Just keep it there. What you have written must always be good enough. And again, analyze your strength in one writer or chapter. See, there is always something in a thesis with everyone. If some chapters are boring, for example introduction or history of how you begin, the time period of the writers, or the impact of a particular geographical period in writing. On the other hand, there is always one chapter that you absolutely love about. So try to focus on that. And there is nothing called order in PhD. You don't have to do chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes you can begin with 4 if you feel that is a strong idea for you. You should always go ahead with that. If somewhere you are paralyzed with one chapter, there is always your strength in the other. In my case, I expanded the most complicated poetic side of my whole thesis. I kept on expanding. I loved it so much. Ultimately, my examiner appreciated me, telling, I have just felt that you have written everything from heart. I said, yes, I really felt every line, and I composed exactly what my heart told me. And examiners, any sensible examiner will validate your thesis. You should never worry about how this is going to appeal to the other person. Your idea is your own beauty, or you can say contribution to the entire world. It is a new product. You are giving birth to an entirely different book to the world. So always keep in mind, you can secretly be proud of the fact that you are going to give something very beautiful to the world, and let that period be. You know what? A butterfly is always beautiful. Do not check how it looks when it is in the stage of a caterpillar. Let it grow. Lastly, I would like to say, do not give up. Many times things happen in life that always try to hit the major goal of your life. So time and again, your mind may trick you by telling this is not going to happen. You should quit PhD. You're in loss of something. You lost your beloved. You're depressed right now, and maybe I'm not ready for this. I'm not able to imagine myself creating a whole new book in future. But do not worry. Just relax, and when you have empty mind, that is going to be a good sign, because it is going to absorb new ideas. A black slate, a white slate, whatever you feel it like, both of them are important. Black is when you feel so much gray, nothing comes there, and white is when you are open to everything and the knowledge comes back to you. Do not worry on your time frame that I should have finished this by the month of November, for example, and January to February I thought of the next chapter. You have to digest the fact that it is a part of your life. So let PhD be your friend, a companion, and a dear comrade. It keeps walking with you, and it always ends up giving you huge amount of success. And just like Vivekananda says, stop not until your goal is reached. And trust me, when you dream of your PhD and when you're worried every night when you're sleeping, it is a great hint that you're going ahead. And also, if you want, you can put in front of you what Nehru said, and the miles to go before I sleep, because you need extreme amount of patience in PhD. Your mind will trick you in 1,000 ways, but when your heart knows what you want to do, what you want to give it to the world, and if you are passionate about expanding your idea, you will do it. So that is what I would like to say about. Rest everything you all know, and make the most of this quarantine period. You can enjoy reading, and do not worry how much is stored in your mind. Just surf, enjoy and relax, and also keep taking juices and great food so that you can be positive all the time. And yes, a few of you also told me to show the collection of my books. I'm most welcome. You let me know. I can show you the collection of all of them. Thank you.